Ok, Mathieu, nous avons plaisir de recevoir avec nous ambassadeur Daniel Foote, comme nous connaissons qu'il une bataille depuis longtemps, et surtout nous avons dit de bon côté, et il y a une solution qui s'assortit dans Haïtien. Ambassadeur Foote, a few days ago, Dr. Ariel Henry resigned. Uh, what can we expect from that speech he gave? What what is his next step, according to you?
He's finished. And I don't think he's officially resigned under the CARICOM deal because I believe CARICOM expects him to resign and transfer power to this new blonde-led government construct that the US and CARICOM are working for. Ariel can't go back to Haiti. He hasn't been able to go back to Haiti since he left for Kenya without getting killed. And he knows that. At the first, I think he was desperate to get back because he knows as soon as he steps down what happens. He's going to have to face justice for obstructing justice in the assassination and who knows what else. So he did
Okay,
not.
now is it safe for him to stick around
Pardon?
and with the possibility that he could face American justice here if he stick around?
Not American justice. I don't think he's really worried about American justice. It's Haitian justice he's worried about, I think. And as we all know, he is implicated to have close ties with the intellectual authors of the assassination. And he's never answered anybody about those phone calls that he took in his role. And one of the things that the Haitians all demanded from me 30 months ago when I was special envoy was the country needs justice for Jovenel. And it does. In order to heal from all this, they need justice from Jovenel, and they need some organic solution to the gangs that leads to some kind of national reconciliation. And the Haitians need to decide what that looks like. Not me, not Tony Blinken, not President Holness or Prime Minister Holness of Jamaica, but the Haitians.
What you're telling me is that everything CARICOM is doing is not going anywhere. It's not taking us anywhere. That's what you're saying.
I don't think the people on the island want it. They want stability, right? They want things to get better. They want society to return. But like you and me, at this point, they have seen that every time Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton or Dan Foote or Michelle Sisson put their thumbs on Haiti, it gets markedly worse. Whoever we put in power has impunity because we back them, so they can steal, be corrupt, kleptocracy, etc. And the Haitian people, these politicians have never had to be accountable to the Haitian people.
Okay.
And until we inject that, Haiti will never be a sovereign country. It never has to date.
Okay, now, if few groups are sending names to CARICOM, would it be wise for politically wise for the Montana Accord to join the transitional government as suggested by CARICOM?
All right. So your question about CARICOM and the politicians in Haiti, I think we all know, or I certainly believe I know from history that power sharing agreements have never worked in Haiti. And that's what this CARICOM construct is, which is a US construct, of course, but they're just using CARICOM, so it doesn't look like it's them. What you're seeing right now, instead of 7 people, the 7 choices of the white people who are now choosing Haiti's future, is they're all wrestling about who gets what ministry, and I want to be in control of the port, and you get the airport. Same thing, business as usual, right? Nobody's worried about what's best for Haiti in a power sharing arrangement. Everybody, the minute they sign that, they're going to start thinking about how they can jockey for position to come out on top when this is over. Montana started, and if you go back to 1986 and 1987, you would know better than me because I was not following Haiti yet at that point in time, but civil society and the opposition came together and put a transition government together and held elections, which I think were acceptable, probably the only ones that have been acceptable to Haitians. Raul Cedras and the army didn't like it very much, but so we know that an imposed power sharing agreement won't work. So what's the alternative to a power sharing agreement? Consensus political accord, where people, instead of coming together to fight about who gets what out of Haiti, they come together united for the betterment of Haiti. Like I think people did in 86 and 87 when you rewrote the Constitution for a fresh path forward. And I think this was Montana's original intent as this went on. It didn't work out like they wanted it to because it's been ignored for 2 years. And I'm not sure if Montana is necessarily the action, but the best course at this point. It's not up to me, frankly, anyways, regardless. But I'm confident that if given a little space and maybe an observer or a referee that's not works for an international government down there, that they will find another political consensus that represents more than the 7 people who are supposed to choose the Haitian government right now. And that's the only way that Haitians will, A, work really hard to make this plan work because it's theirs and it's not some dumb gringo from the north. And 2, it's the only way they will accept the eventual results of elections. I believe if CARICOM government comes out, right, it's got religious guys, it's got PHTK, it's got other religious parties and some maybe business concerns. Just by having PHTK in that government ensures it'll fail because Haiti will not put up with PHTK anymore. They ruined the country in the last 13 years.
Okay, Ambassador Foote, you have been advocating for a Haitian-led approach to address Haitian crisis. Why doesn't the U.S. side with you on that approach?
I don't know. Either I'm the dumbest guy who ever lived in their eyes, or they're blind, deaf, and stupid, honestly. Had I not told them the exact direction that Haitians thought things were going to go under Ariel, and had I not provided what I thought was a cogent, cognizant plan out of this mess, then it's okay. They can do whatever they want. But we accurately predicted exactly what would happen throughout the entire 32 months. We've been warning them. We've been warning them. We're warning them now not to move forward with this CARICOM thing. They've gotten to the point where we always get in Haiti. We ignore it. We appoint somebody that we think will do what the Americans want them to do, right? Who's compliant to America. And they take office, and pretty soon they realize they don't have to answer to the Haitian people, and they start stealing and putting all their party guys in mayorships and letting parliament lapse by not holding elections. And it doesn't work, as I've said, until I'm blue in the face, I think.
In other words, the U.S. is responsible for the current political crisis in part, no?
Right. And it's just what that does, as you've seen, it's just going to put Haiti back into this 2 to 15-year-old cycle of catastrophe. And I think, but the problem is this time, like I think the Haitian people, not the gangs, are in a mental bois calais revolution right now. And I think if the Kenyans start coming in and shooting civilians because they can't tell the difference, because they're propping up this government, which has PHTK as a big part of it, it's going to be really ugly.
And Ambassador, how effective do you think the Kenyan-led forces, if they ever come, in helping the national police in addressing the security crisis in Haiti?
So I give the Kenyans my respect and props for stepping up for this mission. And there is a role to play for everyone who's volunteered. As you know, there is a money-making issue to these national peacekeeping things as well, and that's a piece of the puzzle. The problem with the Kenyans, in my opinion, is they've never led a mission. They've never had more than 500 people on a peacekeeping mission. And they struggle with their own security in Nairobi and against claims of atrocities by the police. So these guys, it's not like they're the world's greatest force coming in to help you out. They're the only guys the U.S. could get to step forward. I'm not sure if it's true, but I've read in the last days that 30% of the 1,000 Kenyans who were expected to go have said, no, thank you. I don't want to go to Haiti right now, which is not good. And it's still under some sort of judicial hold in Kenya, although I don't think President Ruto of Kenya is going to care. And as soon as, if CARICOM, if these seven people who were chosen under a non-Haitian led solution choose a government, he's going to send them in. As soon as they choose and swear in a government, I think that they're going to try to send the Kenyans in. It's not the answer. I fear the people are going to think that they're propping up this other U.S. corrupt kleptocracy again, and they're going to take to the streets, and the poor Kenyans are going to go home, if they're lucky, with their tails between their legs, and if they're not, in boxes.
Okay, Ambassador, the U.S. is against any Haitian army. Is there any reason for that?
I understand the logic from the late 80s and the early 90s because Haitians went through so much work in 86 and 87, like I think they can do again today, to re-put together democracy from the ground up, kind of in Haitian hands. And Jean-Bertrand Aristide was elected in a landslide, right? And within a year, the army had deposed him in a coup because Raul Cedras and the army and the elites didn't like Aristide. So that's why Clinton forced Aristide to eliminate the army, because he thought having an army would just lead to coup after coup after coup. But as we found, after building the Haitian police, which we did, and we need to do again, and I played a role in that, you need organic security forces, because look, in the past we said, oh, don't worry, you don't need an army, we'll come bail you out if it gets bad. Well, guess what? We're not bailing you out anymore. So Haiti needs to be able to determine who its government is, how it is, and what's going to happen, and it needs to be able to fight its own battles if the whites are going to ignore them in their time of need.
Okay, Ambassador Foote, if asked, what would be your advice to President Biden vis-a-vis the current social-political crisis in Haiti?
If I were to tell President Biden, I would tell him the same thing I told Secretary of State Blinken in October of 21 in a half-hour conversation with him after I'd already quit. And that is, the only path to success, I believe, and most of the Haitians do, is let the Haitians set the political foundation so that you might have a social contract between the people and the government. Because if they don't accept elections, we're wasting our time. It's going to be worse in 5 years.
Okay, Ambassador, if asked, would you be able to go back to Haiti as a special envoy?
No, I would never work for the United States government on Haiti issues again, nor would I work for any of the other internationals who have puppeteered in Haiti over the years. If the Haitians asked me, I'd go in a second, but only under the understanding that I'm kind of there as a referee and observer. I'm not making any decisions. I'm just there to kick people in the backside when they need that, or hug people when they need that. And I really believe the answer is a national dialogue, or a constituent assembly or something where you have representatives from across the country come and talk through this. Because if you don't do that, only Haitians know the way forward. Only Haitians know the justice that they're going to demand for the assassination and from the gangs. I don't know if the Haitians want everybody in the gangs to get a death sentence. I don't know if they want them to get a life sentence. I don't know if they want the leaders to get a death sentence and the young kids who haven't been around that long have a chance to reintegrate. I don't know. And it's not up to me. Haitians need to decide these critical components. And whether we like it or not, the gangs are kind of going to have to cooperate in the short term. And I think they will, only because everybody wants the same thing. And while barbecue might have some designs on power, I don't think they're really serious yet. I've noticed a trend in the past couple days. You know, the gangs are still breaking things in Port-au-Prince, but a lot less than they were until we learned Ariel was gonna step down. I'm now seeing these guys look like they're turning into politicians because I think they're thinking about amnesty and what their role in a new Haiti, if any, might be. So these are critical questions. And if the Americans messed it up in the past when it wasn't anywhere near as this complicated, how bad do you think we're going to mess it up this time?
I think you have any word to add to that interview?
Yeah, because your audience is largely diaspora, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So to mes amis in the diaspora, I would like to call on you. I know you're all exceptionally engaged. I know you're worried. I know you talk to your families and your friends constantly, and it's a really difficult situation. And you've known that the whole time. The international community didn't care about this 10 days ago until Ariel couldn't get back in. We're going to have to give your folks on the island some time and space. This is not for the diaspora to solve either, unfortunately. You're just as American as I am at this point in time. At some point, when the Haitians put a new government together on the island, I believe that they are going to want to include some diaspora expertise, et cetera. So prepare for that. But we don't need 1,000 plans to save Haiti from everybody in the United States. We need one plan to save Haiti from the people in Haiti.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Merci en pile.
Hello tout le monde, it's your lady, Lady Nay, host of Afrique Creole. Bon, me dis une petite parole. Chaque dimanche matin, 8h pour 10h, nowhere else to be. Haiti première classe. Et si vous manquez, ou pas besoin de worry. Allez dans YouTube. Cherchez Haiti première classe. C'est là où vous avez toute information ou besoin. Ça va passer dans la communauté, ça va passer dans le pays. Un seul show, un seul programme. Haiti première classe.